Hello, my name is Carla, the Crazy Cross Stitch Lady, and I'm so happy that you have decided to join me today. Welcome to my craft room. We are continuing with this tutorial series that I have started. I'm making this cupcake design, and I said that I would follow the pattern all the way through until the end. And so I am doing that. I do want to apologize for not making these videos a little bit sooner. I wanted to get my last FlossTube video out of the way. I wanted to get that done because it was time for me to do some updates. So I did that, and then right after that I got sick with a sinus infection, and so I was down and out for a little while and didn't really feel like doing anything, and I don't think you would have wanted to listen to my congested little self. So I'm feeling much better. I'm not completely over it, but I am much better. So I thought I would go ahead and make some more of these videos, and hopefully we can, we're actually moving along quite a bit, and we'll be getting this done hopefully here pretty soon. If you are a novice stitcher, you have just joined our wonderful group of cross stitchers. Welcome, and I hope that you get a lot out of this, and I'm doing this to kind of help guide you along if this is your first project that you're working on, learning how to actually follow a pattern. We're working on a simple pattern here, and it's all full cross stitches because the idea is just to teach you how to get started in following the patterns. And then if you want to do some fancier stuff a little bit later, then that will be entirely up to you. If you are one of the seasoned ones and you've been around the block a time or two, you really don't need this, but please feel free to use this as a stitch along. I like to listen to videos. I know I watch some that are geared more towards beginners, but I sit and stitch while I'm listening to it because you never know when you might be learning something new. I actually, and speaking of that, I had my list of things that I wanted to go over, and I have misplaced it, although I found my pink thread, so that's good. I think I've pretty much covered like lots of basic things here. So we're going to do mainly stitching here, see how much we can get done. This is our pattern, okay? And so the last time we had completed all of the blue part, and so I've got my trusty little highlighter here so I can highlight as I go. And right now we are working on the little streams of pink in here. So we had some purple frosting, which is a fun, and now we're putting the pink in here. And because this is a closed area, I really don't have to do any counting because I know this whole area, all of these are like the upside down T's, and so if I look down on my chart, that's my pink, that's the 605 that I'm currently using, which is this right here. And so this is one of those times that I just don't have to count because each of these sections is all the 605. So these empty sections right here are the 605. So all I have to do is stitch. And I've got my little handy new needle minder that I got from embroidery.com. Let me see if I can, yeah, you can't, oh, there we go. Where you can see it says Witchy Stitchy Challenge 2021. I got this for our challenge last October, and it's not as strong of a magnet as the others have been. It's still pretty strong, but they're not sure what happened there, but I think they're going to try to correct it for this last one that we just did. But I thought I would have that on there just as a fun little thing for us to see. So I'm going to start stitching right here, and I'm just basically filling in the gaps. And like I said, I had a list of things that I was going to go over with you, and now, let's see, let me back up so it's not constantly refocusing. I'm not really sure what happened to it. I've been listening to some of the other floss tubes, and I've been exploring some new ones. And it's always interesting to find new FlossTube channels. I don't think you can ever have enough FlossTube. At least that's my humble opinion. So, one that I found, well, I'll just let you know some of the FlossTubes I subscribe to, the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. I subscribe to a lot of different YouTube channels, just like I do. I have podcasts that I listen to, and they cover a range of topics. It's not just cross stitch, because I'm interested in many other things as well. But let's see, for the floss tubes that I watch on YouTube, I usually do it while I'm either stitching myself, or I'm putting on my makeup in the mornings, and I just have that beside me, and I'll listen, and then if something really catches my interest, I'll turn and look for a little bit, especially if they're showing new stuff. So one of them that I have just recently found is called Hedgerow Stitching, and she is a lady who lives in Cornwall, which is in the UK in England. Cornwall is in the southwest corner, I believe. If you're someone who's over the pond and you're listening to this, please feel free to correct me if I'm not right. I don't have a map in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's where it is. So she's from Cornwall, and she has shown some very interesting projects. She likes a lot of the, not just like the regular primitive stitch with samplers and things like that, but she's very interested in royalty and some of the like family crests, and it's very interesting to watch. And she knits too, so she likes to show some of her knitting stuff, and she's very calming to listen to. I found her voice is gentle, and of course she has a British accent, which I absolutely love. And so I enjoy, I haven't listened to her for very long, but I have enjoyed what I have heard. So if you're interested in discovering some new floss tubes, FlossTube channel, let me straighten this thread up. Anytime you start feeling your thread just kind of getting loose, you just run your fingers over it, and you can get it straightened out. So anyway, if you're interested in maybe checking her out, it's Hedgerow Stitching. Let's see. Well, if I can find my spot there. Of course, I listened to Jean Farish. I think I brought her up in my floss tubes. Jean is a designer. She's been designing for over 40 years now. I think she started around like 1980 or 81. And so that's her primary thing. That is her job. It's what she does, is she designs for cross stitch as well as other types of embroidery, mainly cross stitch though, I think. And she of course has her floss tube, and hers focuses on, she doesn't as much show some of the work that she's done. I mean, she'll show it, but when she's showing it, it's more for, I'm getting a little distracted here, sorry. What I'm doing. It's more for the sake of teaching, and she's very focused on teaching beginners, even though I've been stitching for about 25 years myself, in various modes off and on. But let's see, hold on just a minute, let me show you. I have like a little that's loose, and I think it's because my threads were kind of loose. So I'm gonna undo this. I'm just gonna pick it out. Let's see if I can, trying to do it through the camera. This is interesting. let's see, which end was I on? That one, I think, yeah. So we're going to do a little frogging. Nobody likes to frog, but sometimes it is necessary. Let's see if I can come over to the back and pick some of that out. Sometimes there we go. It just, I didn't like that. That doesn't look too great. So I'm trying to pick that little bit out if I can, and then we're going to do that again. Okay, so let me rethread here. I have to take it off screen for just a little minute here. We're going to rethread, and as I'm talking, I will interrupt my own conversation. So I guess it's okay. If you interrupt yourself, I guess that's okay. Well, and of course, trying to do this with my glasses. Okay, this is not working. Okay, I'm going to have to trim a little bit of this because it's getting kind of, I want to show you where the thread is getting, it's getting uneven and it's making it difficult for me to thread it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip off the end, okay? And we'll set that to the side, and now I should be able to thread it much easier. Pick my needle up off my needle minder. I appreciate your patience as I'm doing this and trying to do it with bifocals and through the camera, which is fun. We're all so professional around here, aren't we? It's fun though. Unless it's stubborn, then it's not so fun. All right, there we go, finally. All right, back in business. Okay, so as I was saying, she, a lot of her lessons, she'll teach about, like, she'll take one specific thing and she will teach about it. And she'll give tips on things like traveling with your cross stitch and things like that. And she'll show you certain things that she's done on her pieces so that beginners can learn from that. I've learned some things myself that I never really thought about, even as long as I've been stitching. So even if you are a seasoned stitcher and you don't really need a lot of the beginner stuff, just use her videos as a stitch along if you want. Give her a chance. A lot of people like her. She has a lot of seasoned stitchers who listen to her because we're all learning stuff from her as well. So just, and some of it's just like little tips and tricks. Well, I never thought about doing it that way before. So just goes shows a constant learning process, which makes it even more fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm at the end of my little strip here, so I'm going to turn it to the back, and I'm just going to run my needle under some of the pink, okay, and I'm going to pull it out and then cut it off. And this is just, it's too short to keep going, so I'm just going to take that out. So you set that there. And I'm going to start a new one, and before I do that, I'm going to highlight right here. We're going to highlight all this, and it's going to show it's all done. And it's very satisfying, I think, when you are highlighting and you can highlight sections that you've completed and you're seeing how much progress you've made. So that's another reason to highlight too, is just to celebrate just the small successes. You know, we got that area done. Woo! Okay, now I am ready to do this next one. So let me get some more pink, and I will get that needle threaded and we'll get going again. So yeah, I like to listen to her. I have not caught up with all her videos. I'm not up to date because I have so many different ones that I watch, but you know, I just rotate. And you know, it's not. I have to remind myself because I have OCD, so I have to remind myself this is not a race. It's not a contest. It's not. You know, we're not trying to see how fast we can burn through videos because what's the point then? So I'm just taking my time and learning as I go and having some fun with it, which is what you need to do, is have some fun with it. But one thing that she brought up in a video that I just watched of hers, which just to have some perspective, the video that I just watched is probably maybe not quite a year old, so I'm behind. But she brought up this whole idea about going on retreats and what to expect from a retreat, which I think was really neat, because if you've never been on a cross stitch retreat, you need to go at least once just to get the experience of it. Okay, where's my loop? All right, there's my loop. And so somebody had sent in a question to her. Now I don't know where my okay, I gotta take it off camera for a second so I can see where I was. Like, I couldn't find where it was. That's crazy. Okay, sometimes the pink kind of blends a little with the purple. Okay, so somebody had asked her if it was okay for them to go on a retreat if they only stitched on Aida, or Aida's pronounced different ways. The correct pronunciation is the way that Jean pronounces it, which is Aida. It is named after the play, the opera Aida. Some people, I think especially in the UK, they pronounce it Ida. That's what I've heard anyway. And then some of us pronounce it Ada. They all are considered correct. Nobody corrects anyone if they say it a certain way. So anyway, that's the cloth that or the fabric that we're stitching on right now. The squares are very pronounced and a lot of beginners use it. Well, it kind of got this stigma of, you know, since beginners use it to learn how to cross stitch, then, you know, if you become more experienced and you don't move on to learning how to stitch with even weave or linen, then, you know, you were looked down upon, and this is something that you needed to correct. Something's wrong if all you stitch on is Aida. Well, here's the thing. I know several experienced stitchers who are currently in one of the embroidery groups that I'm in on Facebook, and all they stitch on is Aida. Some of them stitch on it because their eyes are not the best in the world, and Aida it's much more comfortable for them to be able to see the holes and stitch, and they're able to enjoy their stitching a whole lot more because they can actually see what they're doing. And sometimes even with the best light, it's difficult, especially on linen. Linen has the least pronounced holes. I mean, they're there obviously, but you know, sometimes it's harder to see those, and they don't enjoy it because they can't see what they're doing. So this one stitcher was saying, you know, is it okay for me to go on a retreat? Like, is it acceptable if I only stitch on Aida? And I felt it knotting back here, so I'm just kind of gently pulling it back out to straighten it up. And Jean is so she's so nice about this, and she gets mad like I do at people who are snobbish about that kind of stuff. And she said, absolutely, whatever brings you joy. And she said if other people have a problem with it, it's their problem. It's not the one who's using the Aida. It's not their problem. So that's what I want to impress upon any of you beginners. If you're watching me and you're a beginner, please don't ever think that you have to use a certain fabric or do it a certain way, or you have to start at the bottom left and go top right and then bottom right and top left in order for it to be, quote, appropriate or the correct way to do it. There are, as I said before, there are best practices to stitching. There aren't any fast rules. The best practices just make things easier for you. It might make your stitching look neater, but if you're not wanting to put it in a state fair or anything like that, and you're doing this just because it relaxes you, you enjoy the craft, then don't worry about it. You do what's going to make you happy. This is a hobby, and I think some people lose sight of that. They get so caught up in the way you should do things, and it can really sap the joy out of it for people. So I just want you to be assured that there's absolutely nothing wrong however you want to do it. If all you want to stitch on is 28 count even weave, then by golly, you go for it. More power to you. I happen to like that myself. If you want to stitch on 14 count Aida, if you want to stitch on 9 count Aida, 11 count Aida with the really big squares, then you do that. This is 14 count that I'm stitching on, by the way. 14 count is, it's about average, where it's pretty easy to see the holes. They're not huge though. Some people really, if they're stitching on Aida, a lot of them I notice they like 16 count, and they'll use that. And let's see, I'm trying to think. Okay, so that's pretty much Jean. She does a lot of teaching. Her FlossTube is more teaching than it is showing. So if you do decide you want to check her out, then just keep in mind that hers is more for educational purposes, if you will. Let's see, who else? I do have the group, one of the groups, excuse me, one of the groups that I belong to is embroidery.com. I'm in their Facebook group, and they're the ones who put on these challenges each year. Oops, sorry. My phone keeps wanting to jiggle. So they put on these challenges, and they also, it's like every Thursday, one of the ladies who's in charge of the group, her name is Dawnette, and she goes live on YouTube and on Facebook on Thursdays, and she'll just talk about different topics, different things that might be going on, especially if we have a challenge that's getting ready to happen or is going on. And she'll spend about 30 minutes or so talking about things, or if somebody has an issue, or if they've got a question about, what do you use for this, or how do you do this, then she'll talk about that. And then she will spend, oh, there we go again with that thread. This pink, I tell you what, it can be a little, we won't say salty, but so straighten it out again. Okay, so she is part of a business that is embroidery.com, and then of course they have their Facebook page, and then they have the YouTube channel. And so once she finishes talking about whatever she's going to talk about, then she'll go over to the Facebook page and she'll start scrolling through the posts. And she tries not to look at them right before, because she wants to have genuine reactions to what she sees. And she just loves looking at all of the work that people have done. So people will post like before and after pictures and just post progress on things. And she'll spend about 30 minutes looking at those and talking about them. And it's neat. There's probably the same core group of maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 people who actually join her during the live. I'm not able to do it because the time zone, she's about 2 hours behind me. And so by the time she comes on at 7, it's 9 o'clock for me, and I need to be getting in the bed because I got to get up early to go to work. So summertime, I should be able to join more of the lives, which I think would be fun because you can ask questions in real time and all that. Okay, there's my second section. So now I could, if I wanted to, I could just come on over to this section without starting again, and what's going to happen is my pink is going to trail a little bit. Now, is that the end of the world? No. That's not going to matter that much, and really your back doesn't matter. Some people are very much about my back needs to look like my front. Well, I wouldn't worry about that much unless if you want it to be the same, then you go for it. I'm not super concerned, just the way that I stitch, because I do whole stitches at a time and I don't do like one leg going across then one leg back. My backs typically look like my front. But I don't always like to trail my thread that much because to me it just wastes thread. So I'm going to just run it through a few of these pinks, and then I'm going to end it. And this one, I probably could get some stitches out of it. I'm not going to try because it's pretty short. So I'm just going to end that. Usually my tails aren't, I don't have that much thread left. But for this sake, I'm just going to go ahead and end it. And I'm going to take my trusty little highlighter, and I'm going to highlight this part. And my highlighter seems to be getting dry. I may have to switch to another one before this is all done. Okay. Or I can mark it with my ink pen if I want to. Okay. So I've got one more section left. So we're going to do this section before I end the video for this part anyway. I may upload a few in a row. I don't know if it'll be the same day, but I think I may try to at least get some of this done because it's high time we got this cupcake done, I think. High time. All right. So let me get her threaded here. I have to scoot my glasses down so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. There we go. All right, now we got it. Okay, so now we are at this last section, and we are going to do this last section. So let me get it started here. It is amazing how hard this can be. I'm getting better at it, but I'm trying to actually see it, just look at this and not try to do it through the camera, which I know some people try to do. I'm like, I don't think I can do it through the camera. I tried it. I just don't think I can. Okay, now I'm going to get it through the loop. There we go. And get this section done. And then we'll be ready to move on to the next color. Okay, that thread's a little long. I'm going to pull that down so I don't have so much thread. Okay. All right, so that's embroidery.com. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, oh gosh, what is her name? The Stitchy Witch, I think. I need to look her up, but I think it's the Stitchy Witch. She started out doing like very short videos. She would have like maybe 5 minutes here, 8 minutes there, and she would just she would either show herself doing some stitches on like a hade that she was doing, or whatever project she was working on at the time, or she would have it, it would be on the screen, and she would talk about it, and she would point out some things, but she wouldn't have any stitching going on. I think I'm not caught up with her yet because I just subscribed to her not long ago. But I think from just glancing at some of her newest videos that she's actually doing a lot more stitch alongs now. And she'll do a stitch along for like over an hour, and she'll just sit there and she will stitch on her piece. And I don't know what she talks about. I haven't listened to any of those yet. Oh, did I come through? Oh, I came through like the middle. Ugh. Let's go back, try that again. Try it again. Okay. So, anyway. So that's hers. And she's doing a really neat one. I forgot what it's called, but it's a black cat that's sitting in a window, and that's a Heaven and Earth design. And it's really pretty. It is really pretty. She's doing a wonderful job on that. She's stitching that one. She's using 25 count, which is what they recommend. Okay, let me see. I gotta look and see if I missed that up. By golly, did I mess that up? This pink is not. Give me just a minute here. I've got to pull this back out. Okay, I only had to pull out like one thread. This pink is giving me fits. Sometimes colors will do that. This is all DMC, but certain colors will just do not want to work right. They get you'll start having them just kind of snag, and well, I'll just pull that back out. Yeah, see this pink. Whew. Actually, I'm glad we're almost done with it. I don't recall this color giving me so much trouble before, but it is what it is. So let me see if I can get this re-threaded, and I am very sorry about that. Let's try this again. Okay, so we're almost done. Yeah, that was kind of icky. There we go, that's better. Okay. So she's doing hers on 25 count, which means it's 25 squares per inch. It's very small, but she's not doing full crosses. She's only doing what we call the tent stitch, which is a half of a cross stitch. And she's doing it with 2 threads, okay? So we call that, she's doing it 2 over 1, which means that she's using 2 threads, and she's doing it over 1 square, or one, what we call an actual weave or thread on the fabric. And she's only doing a tent stitch. So you would think that that wouldn't give you very much coverage. And what we mean by coverage is how much of the fabric is covered by the floss when you make your half stitch or when you make your full cross. Like right now, I'm using this, I'm doing 2 over 1. With Ada, it's always over 1. And I'm using 2 threads. So with 14 count, 16, 18, all of it's, this is good coverage. You know, you're not seeing the fabric underneath. If we were to do 9 or 11 count, because the squares are larger, you're not going to have as good of a coverage. So sometimes you may want to use 3 threads. Typically we use 2 for our floss, but some people want denser coverage. Some people want it kind of light. So again, a lot of that is just personal preference. So with the Heaven and Earth designs, they say you just need to try out some different things and see what your preference is, because they say 25 count because most of them are very large designs anyway. And if you get, like if I did it on a 14 count Ada like this, the designs would be huge, humongous. Might be a little easier to do and some people are willing to do it. They want to do something that's going to be comfortable for them. It's just their design's going to be really big, and that's fine. If that's what you want, that is okie dokie. So that's what she's working on. And let's see, trying to go down through my list and see. I don't have a ton of cross stitchers right now. I had more, but I cut back on some because, you know, after you've watched someone for a little while, either they really grow on you and you really enjoy their videos, or it's like, you know, this is kind of irritating and it's just wasting my time. Don't feel badly to unsubscribe from someone or just stop watching their videos. They're not going to know. And, you know, if you get tired of me, I'm not going to know. Life is too short, and it's just, time is too precious to be spending thinking, well, you know, I'm in now. I've already subscribed, so I need to watch these videos. And if you're like me with OCD, that tends to be what you want to go to, even though it sounds crazy to some people. But just know that you're not obligated, okay? All right, so we got that one done. So now we're going to put our needle through the pink. There we go. Now I'm going to snip it close. And I'm going to take this off because I'm done with my pink. We are done with the pink. All right, we are done with the pink. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm done with that pink. And I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to highlight this section. Oh, we're so done with the pink. Okay, now here's what we've got left. So we've got all the icing done, and now we are on the cupcake part itself, and then that's all brown, and then we will get into this black. So we are at 37 minutes right now, so I've gone over my 30. I wanted to get the rest of the icing done though, but we are going to start on this the next go round, and so here's where we are. All right, so hope that you are blessed beyond measure. Hope that you stitch happy and have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.